The Lagos State government has officially announced that enforcement of the electronic call-up system on Lekki-Epe corridor will commence on June 16th. This enforcement date comes after an earlier postponement. The announcement was made in a statement made available to newsmen through the Commissioner for Transportation, Mr. Oluwaseun Oshiemi. Well, let's talk to the Commissioner of Transport, Lagos State, Mr. Oluwaseun Oshiemi. He joins me via Zoom to make his input on this conversation. Good afternoon, Honorable Commissioner. It's good to have you join Business Nigeria this afternoon.
Good afternoon, Tolulope. My name is Oshiemi Oluwaseun.
Yes.
Just for the record.
Yes, Oluwaseun Oshiemi. Yeah, is it Oshiemi Oluwaseun? Oshiemi comes first.
I mean, anyone can go.
Yeah.
It's just the pronunciation.
Okay, yeah. Oluwaseun Oshiemi. All right. Thank you so much. All right. Let's start with take us through the workings first of this ECall Up system. We know that something is happening around the Apapa Ports area, which recently we had some protests which we covered as a television station. And now it's going to be introduced at the Lekki axis of Lagos. Tell us more about the workings of this and what the state intends to achieve.
Thank you, Tolulope. I listened to what the president of NATO said yesterday. Honestly, I would like us to focus on maybe like a reply, because the special advisor to Mr. Governor was at your station, if I'm correct, on Wednesday to go through all of what it is. But I'll do a quick summary. The ECall Up system is an electronic system that coordinates the inflow and outflow of trucks to a particular region, and the region or corridor in question now is a Lekki Free Trade Zone. We have the ECall Up that is being done in Apapa by MPA in conjunction with Lagos State. Well, Lagos State is the one doing this in conjunction with some private companies under some PPP arrangement in Lekki Free Trade Zone. So bottom line is there must be some form of coordination to monitor and direct the number of trucks that come into that axis at every given time. Putting into consideration that it's a peculiar corridor because there's only one exit and one exit in that corridor. So it has to be properly managed. Otherwise, if you have more than if you have too many vehicles running into that zone at the same time, there will be congestion. Looking at the stakeholders and the businesses around there, we have Dangote Refinery, we have the Lekki Deep Sea Port, we have Tolerance, we even have Pinnacle, another oil and gas, and a couple of other stakeholders. Looking at the numbers as we speak today, we run about 360 to 400 trucks amongst all of these stakeholders. There must be some level of coordination. The issue for me is not just about the number of trucks we have there today, but it's going to grow from statistics and prognosis that we have. That the Dangote Refinery will be doing close to 3,000, 4,000 daily by the time they are fully blown and fully dispersing oil. For other stakeholders in that axis, we expect that business also would grow and the numbers will multiply. What is not increasing is the number of outlets or ingress that we have. It's still the same. So there must be some way to monitor those inflows and outflows of vehicles, which is why the ECall Up, the electronic call-up system, has been introduced. And what does this do? It simply provides parks, truck parks, that all of the trucks that are coming in from wherever it is, within Lagos State and all over the nation, would go first based on the ATL, authority to load, issued by all of the stakeholders in this business area. They go in there based on that, do a registration, go in there. Once they go in there, at the point at which those companies now call them to come in and load, we will now release them to go into those zones. By doing this, what we've efficiently done is to monitor and ensure that the number of trucks that go in at every given time is being monitored and there's no congestion.
All right, there. It's a good way to start, and it's a very interesting submission there, Honorable Commissioner. But now, going to the matter at hand, stakeholders involved in running activities along that axis are concerned. They've raised issues, particularly around the amount they are talking about 12,500 naira, no 12,500. Now, my question will come in two folds. How much of consultations did the state government have with them before coming up with the amount? And what's the position at the moment, as they are saying 12,500 naira is a no-no according to them? We had press statements from NATO and Ipman. Honorable Commissioner, did you get my question? Honorable Commissioner.
Hello. Hello, Tolu?
Yes, I can hear you now. I can hear you.
Okay.
Did you get my question?
Say that again?
Did you get my question?
No, it went off. So maybe
okay.
You should please repeat the
okay,
question.
So I asked you, I said two issues here for me. One is the issue of the pricing, the 12,500 naira. The likes of Ipman and NATO is saying they cannot afford that, according to them. They said it will impact on the price of petroleum products and the cost of running their businesses. That's one. Then I asked also that how much of consultation have you had with stakeholders running businesses along that axis?
All right. Thank you very much, Tolu. The beauty of this conversation is that there's an alignment of thoughts that says that there's a need for that product, which is the ECall Up. Everyone involved is in agreement that we should do this. Now, 12,500 is the cost ascribed to this, and that's the contention that we have. I want to put things in perspective. Firstly, this 12,500 is not a revenue generating thing for Lagos State. Secondly, these monies are not even paid to Lagos State by any way or in any form. It's a PPP arrangement between Lagos State and one truck owners and also the software and system people, the ECall Up consultant, as we speak. So what happens? At some point, over 2 years ago, there was a communique, a publication that was issued to the populace for people to actually bid and, of course, put in their request to put up a truck park. There were standards and conditions for it. I'm taking you through all of this so you would be able to understand and appreciate where the 12,500 is coming from. This PPP arrangement, of course, there were 30 people, over 30 people were given provisional approval to go and set up truck parks 2.5 years ago. A lot of them did not get onto doing this. Upon resumption of office, I did an evaluation of all of this list. 30 people. We only had about 2 or 3 that put on this truck park. And being a proactive government, we knew that at some point, if you don't get this right, it's going to be worse than what we experienced in Apapa, God forbid. So we did a reevaluation, and then, of course, called all of the people that were given the provisional approval and gave timelines that they should get back to work and ensure they put these truck parks in place. Well, after the expiration of the timeline that was given, 120 days at that time, we did a reevaluation and then canceled all the approvals that were given and reissued provisional approvals to another 15. As we speak today, we have about 7 to 8 of those truck parks ready to be used. Part of what we gave as standards for the truck park was, one, to ensure that the truck park that we are going to put up must be paved, because we are going to be parking trucks there. And once it rains and is not paved, it becomes a bad situation and not so motorable. We also insisted on the particular turning radius for every truck park that must be built. Of course, there were amenities that we insisted that must be in place. One of it would be electricity, a sleeping bay, toilets, and bathrooms for the drivers to be able to use, We also, of course, told them that they should ensure that there should be running water to ensure that people can actually freshen up and all of whatnot. CCTV and that the area, the park should be fenced was also one of the conditions we created. As well, we also said that they must also put security in place to ensure that they protect life and goods that will be within those truck parks. All of these were things being put together to ensure that some value will be given back to whoever parks in this place. Beyond the congestion, there are so many other things that we need to deal with. We are talking about people that would have driven 14 to 16 hours from whichever state they are coming from. They deserve to be able to park somewhere to rest, to even put water and freshen up. And then this obviously would improve their, their alertness and their well-being, their mental well-being, and this would also transform to some form of level of safety on our roads. You don't want to drive for 14, 16 hours, nowhere to park, and then they keep parking on the roads because there's really nowhere to park. The environmental degradation, we cannot put a value to it. One of it will be the longer they park on those roads, the worse it gets for the road because it's going to add pressure to the road unduly, and then you start getting the road messed up. The second thing is that when you have trucks parked, they don't have any other way to do their personal hygiene, like use toilets, like have their bath. They do it on the road, which is not what we want to see in Lagos. In order to prevent all of this and to be able to give a very, very good living condition and also for the truck drivers, we decided to embark on this, and we called in private investors to do these truck parks. They have invested millions of naira, and the only way they can recoup their money is by providing service to these truck drivers. All of this is also accompanied with the system software that the consultant that would do the ECall Up would, of course, put in play. They spend millions of naira to put on internet, to do the software, to even put barriers in all of the truck parks. Of course, all of those truck parks would also, at the point at which they park, they would have RFIDs on their trucks that would enable them to drive in and out, both from the truck park and to the final destination in which they are going. All of this, of course, cost money. And all of these things were being, all of these costs were being taken, were being borne by these private investors. All of what we're trying to do is to ensure that we create services and give value to our people whilst they carry out the very functional and very important services they're also providing for the nation. The drivers that drive this truck and give us all of this fuel and serving us as well. So they also deserve to be treated as human beings, and which is why we put all of this together. We didn't do all of these things in silos. We ensured that we had a lot of stakeholder engagement. We've been talking for, in the last 18 to 24 months, we've been having different meetings, we've been having engagement. If you listen carefully to what the NATO president said, he said they're in alignment and they're in agreement with the ECall Up. The only issue here is the price. But so I'm trying to put things in perspective so we can have an understanding of how this price came about. I mean, nobody will pay 2.5 to get a parking anywhere or to get a hotel anywhere in Nigeria today. There's going to be electricity, there's going to be staff that will be recruited by these people. They need to recoup their money. At some point, it was initially, I think, 25,000 naira. After stakeholders made a complaint, we looked at all of what we take out, did the cash flow analysis, did so many permutations. We even removed every revenue that was meant to come to Lagos State, just to ensure that we get a very good price that is affordable and that will not make not cause too much trouble to them as well. There was an agreement to start. I think this whole issue started when there was an enforcement at some point. Maybe we've gone beyond that anyways.
Yeah.
But I'm quite surprised that we have, going back to what we already agreed on and what we were supposed to start. As a state, we must do what we need to do. And we must ensure that we put everybody, they're also being put into consideration here. It's important to take care of them because they're performing major functions for us as a nation. The corridor we're talking about is a multi-billion-dollar corridor. We have the likes of Dangote, we have the Lekki Deep Sea Port, we have Tolerance, we have Pinnacle, we have a lot of stakeholders. We even have Alara City. That's the fastest growing corridor in Africa. We cannot afford to just let it be messed up. We all know what happened in Apapa. What the value of properties were in Apapa is not what it is today. We can't sit down and fold our hands and say we'll not do things appropriately.
Honorable Commissioner.
12,500. Yes, please.
Honorable Commissioner, yeah, your point well noted. Making the area clear, at least making it, of course, attractive. It's a notable site in Lagos, and no one will want it rubbished. But my next question to you would be: you've had dates to enforce this before now, and there's been, you know, you've extended it. There's been suspension. The reasons, I don't know. But now that this is happening, and to avoid any form of causing any issues, because if they go by and they stop loading, say by Monday, scarcity will come up. And once scarcity comes up, that becomes another issue. Are you thinking, is there still any possibility of meeting in the middle ground or any form of reduction? What do you think can be done, since now you're holding different positions? That's where we start. That's where I'm standing at the moment. What would be your thoughts around that? Because I'm sure you've seen the press releases. It's everywhere. If Lagos State government goes ahead to enforce on Monday, what do you think will be the fallout of it?
Well, the perspective I would take would be, it would be rather unfortunate if you look at it from a point of strike. Nobody wants any strike. Nobody wants to distort what is going on in the nation. But at the same time, the state will not be held hostage for what it's meant to do. The truth of the matter is, I took time to explain all of what its cost is.
Yes.
Lagos State is not even benefiting a kobo from this 12,500. These are, the funds is just meant for those that have invested money to give service to all of the people we're talking about, to recoup their investments. I mean, there are discussions we've been having offline on how this can be done, which was what brought us to this 12,500 naira. It's not, I mean, with all due respect, I don't think using the strike card is the way to go forward. It's something we have to do, that we all agree we have to do. Then, I mean, I don't want to start measuring some other bills they pay offline that they don't complain. We just need to embrace something that we know will work for everybody. This thing we are doing is not just for our own benefit, it's also for the benefit of everyone. You don't want to get into that traffic when it's really congested. You spend 6-8 hours in that axis just because things are not put appropriately. It is unfair to other business owners in that corridor. They've invested a lot of money. It's unfair to them to now say, I will not pay 12,500 naira. I mean, I empathize with them, and I also know there might be constraints here and there, but I'm sure there are ways they can look at it. If there was some little revenue portion that Lagos State could still scrap from the 12, I would have done that. But I reiterate that Lagos State as a state does not even make one dime from this 12,500 naira. What am I going to do to people that have invested money? Are they going to go back and say, oh, we need to cut it down? No. We would have these conversations, but this enforcement, this ECall Up will start on Monday.
Another concern that I would raise, well, raised by them, because they've also, like I said, they've been on the show, is the PPP that you talked about, saying it's a private investor. Some of them, if I say, particularly Ipman, they are saying they would prefer to pay even directly to Lagos State government if they are to get into any arrangement for payment for this ECall Up system. How would you also react to that?
I mean, they don't have to pay to Lagos State. There's a dedicated account for the ECall Up that once they book, the money will go there. It's at that point, they're not going to be paying different monies. They're paying the 12,500, and it's the back-end office that will disburse the difference to the different stakeholders. They don't need to bother themselves on who they pay to. Once they get on the ECall Up platform and they sign in, they pay their 12,500, they are booked, they can go to the park. There are too many amenities and values attached to this. So they're not paying to Lagos State, or if they want to be, it's Lagos State, the consultants represent us. So that's Lagos State.
Indeed, there is still a lot to expect as we move in to the 16th. That's on Monday, to see how all of this plays out. But Honorable Commissioner, we'll keep a tab on this because it's a big one, and we'll still like to speak to you at any time to know if anything, and if any meeting would even happen before Monday, possibly. At least you could have a high-level meeting before then.